What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to my new to me 2015 Jaguar F-Type R Coupe. If you guys missed the unveil video of this car, I'll go ahead and link it in the top right hand corner, but I just picked this car up not too long ago as a replacement to the 2019 Mercedes C63 AMG that I previously had on the channel, and so far I'm absolutely loving this car. In just a short ownership, I think I already prefer this thing to the Mercedes, and as you can probably tell by the title of this video, this is going to be the first drive video of this car. Keep in mind, like I said, I've only owned this car for around a week or two, and so obviously my driving impressions are still kind of developing, still kind of figuring out what I like and don't like, but I wanted to film this video kind of as soon as possible to get early on impressions and just kind of see, like I said, how those impressions develop over the ownership period of this car. But just to give you guys a quick overview of the car before we hit the road here, like I said, 2015 Jaguar F-Type R Coupe. So it has the 5-liter supercharged V8, 550 horsepower, and 502 foot-pounds of torque. You can see this beautiful clamshell hood right here that opens like so. 8-speed automatic transmission. The 2015 F-Types were the only ones available with rear-wheel drive, so this car sends all of its power back to the rear wheels, obviously. 0 to 60, if you can manage to get traction, is in the high 3-second range with a top speed well in excess of 180 miles an hour, and that 180 is actually limited. I bet delimited, this thing can do 190, maybe even close to 200 miles an hour, which is incredible. The front brakes of the F-Type are these massive 4-piston calipers. You can see my pads and rotors have been changed over the years, so you have a slotted and a drilled design here, but this car also has the gorgeous 20-inch carbon blade wheels with a 255 tire in the front. I have a Continental DWS 06 tire. And if we come to the rear, same beautiful 20-inch wheel with a 305 section rear tire as well. At the rear of the F-Type, for the R specifically, you will find quad exhaust pipes, and because this is an early model year F-Type, there's no sound quieting or anything like that going on here, so I'll go ahead and throw an exhaust clip here. It sounds absolutely incredible. Let's go ahead and close the hood here and take a look at the rest of the car. It's a little tricky to do so. You kind of want to grab it towards the middle, and once you make your way kind of towards the middle, you can go ahead and kind of slam it like so. You want to make sure that it drops completely, otherwise it won't kind of latch on both the latches on the front driver and passenger side. But taking a step back to just admire the general proportions of this car, I said in the reveal video, I think that the F-Type is one of the best looking cars ever created. At least in my humble opinion, the proportions are just perfect. I've gotten so many positive compliments on the looks of this car just in the very short ownership that I've had with it. Taking a quick look inside, you can see these very nice pop-out door handles with the Jag logo right there on the top. And if we go ahead and open the door, you can see this one is appointed with the full black leather interior with the red contrast stitching. Very, very nice. You can see for the 2015 model year, they had bronze paddle shifters. That's a nice touch that kind of sets it apart from the later model years. It also is on the drive selector switch as well. You can also see the carbon fiber trim on the center console. Just a very nice appointed interior. A cool feature of this car before we hit the road is the spoiler. You can see there's the button for it right here. You can only raise it in accessory mode, and as you can see, the gauge cluster will tell you it's in cleaning mode. And if we come and take a look at it at the rear of the F-Type, you can see it looks very, very nice. Like I said, it only raises in cleaning mode, and it'll actually retract once you start driving. But once you kind of hit highway speeds, I think it's 70 miles an hour, it will raise again. So it just kind of does its own thing. It doesn't allow you to really customize what it does. With all that being said, guys, let's go ahead and start up the car and hit the road. All right, guys, welcome to the inside of my new F-Type. And one of the things that surprised me most about this car is how, tame it is when you're in kind of a daily driving mode, which is what I'm using the car for right now. I feel like the car has a reputation for having a crazy loud exhaust and, cracks and burbles from the exhaust at all times, but I'm in the comfort driving mode right now, and there's absolutely no, reason to think that this thing would have such a loud exhaust. You could definitely tell with the ride is another point that I want to make. The ride is pretty stiff, so there's really, no escaping the fact that you're in a sports car. The seating position is really, really nice. You sit low down, you have a nice long hood in front of you, you're kind of just sitting on the rear axle. I like that a lot, and it's a stark comparison to my Mercedes, which was a really nice car, but to be honest with you, it felt like a C-Class that had just a ton of modifications on it to make it go fast. This thing was designed from the onset to be a sports car, supercar, whatever you want to call it. So when you're just kind of in here, you feel the occasion, but to the point I was making earlier, you can drive this thing every day. People do drive these things every day. I have it sitting here in traffic, no issues. So really impressed with the kind of usability of this thing so far. And as we're kind of taking off from the light here, one of the other things I'd like to talk to you guys about is the throttle response. The throttle response on this car is excellent. I'm chalking that up to be obviously a result of the supercharged 5-liter V8. I would compare it obviously to my V8's S4. That was also a supercharged V6, and the initial throttle tip-in was excellent. I wouldn't say it's too sensitive or anything like that. You just have really nice kind of power as you ease off the line. It's a really nice and confidence-inspiring thing. You know, it's not like you're going crazy or anything like that, but little things like that just kind of add up to the overall driving experience, and it's really impressive. One note that I will make, if you guys are interested in actually buying one of these cars, I will film a full kind of buyer's guide, what to look for type video with this car coming soon. Once I do a little bit more research and kind of figure out what, you know, the highs and lows of this car are mechanically. But one thing I will say, make sure that if you want to buy one of these cars is to test drive one and make sure that you fit. I will say I am over 6 feet tall, and I kind of have to slouch a little bit in these seats. As you can see, maybe by the camera angle, my head is kind of brushing the ceiling. I did test drive, like I said, quite a few of these to make sure that I fit, especially with these seats. In the 2018s, they had a thinner kind of bucket that was available, so if you're kind of struggling for space in that sense, you could definitely go for the newer model years with the thinner seats, but just something to note before you actually get one of these. And obviously the best part of this car is the exhaust. If we go ahead and put it into manual mode here, and I'll open up the exhaust valve like this, and I'll drop the windows. Hopefully the wind noise isn't too bad, but can you guys hear that? It's a lot louder outside the car. Just absolutely crazy. If we put the car, see, it kind of does it on its own kind of mind. It's got a mind of its own a little bit. Maybe if we put the car in dynamic mode. Yeah, there it is. Hopefully, yeah, that just sounds amazing. Down the hill and take some of these tighter turns, there's just no body roll whatsoever. It feels so composed through these kind of tighter sections here. You know, I wouldn't compare this, you know, it's not a light car by any means. I think it still weighs, you know, 3,600 pounds or so, but as we kind of hit this tighter section here and we hit this left turn, just no body roll whatsoever. The dynamic suspension, like I said, it's firm, but it really does make a difference when you're taking these turns here. If I could sum the way this car feels up in kind of one word, it's personality. This car has so much personality, it has so much character, so much charisma. It's so hard not to drive this thing and not crack a smile or just enjoy it. You know, that's one of the main reasons I love this car so much. You know, it's not the fastest thing, it doesn't have the best tech on the inside, but you know, when you look at this thing, when you hear it, it's just unbelievable. They'll never make a car like this again, I think. The other part of this car that really, you know, is appealing to me, and it kind of relates to the point I just said, is that this car is unique. You know, it's so easy to kind of go and buy a G80 M3, and not to say those cars aren't great or anything like that, but those cars, you know, are so common. You know, they're just kind of the default platform if you're looking for something, you know, fast and fun. But I would argue for something like this. I mean, you know, you don't have to get the V8 version or anything like that. You can get the V6 with the 380 horsepower, even the 400 Sport. Those are already a ton of fun as is. You know, these cars aren't perfect by any means, obviously. You know, they have their mechanical issues, they have things that go wrong, but so does any real performance car. And I think, you know, the trade-offs are well worth it for a car with this sort of personality. On a day like today, a beautiful sunny day, you take your F-Type out, it's just an incredible car, and I'm so happy to have this one, like I said. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick little test drive of my new 2015 F-Type. As you can tell, I love this car to pieces. These are very early impressions, like I said at the beginning of the video, but already, you know, 2 weeks into my ownership, this thing is just absolutely incredible, and I'm so happy to have it in my garage. But if you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe for a ton of cool content coming on the F-Type, as well as some other cool cars, and I'll catch you in the next one.